Wonderful, wonderful. His Highness is simply delighted. He's dying to meet you. Oh.
You will remember, Your Highness, we met her coming through Brussels last year.
Of course. I just wanted to thank you for so kindly aiding our charity. Your impersonations are wonderful, really wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Would it be trespassing on your good nature if I asked you to give us one more?
Why, no, not at all. I'd be only too delighted. Ladies and gentlemen, for my last impersonation, I would like to give you... But wait a minute. I see in the audience one of the most popular and talented American actresses, now married into your English peerage, Lady Edgware. I would like to give you a slight impression of her singing the chorus of one of her most popular numbers. Unless, of course, she objects. Why not at all? I'd be delighted. Thank you. Would you play Lying Awake, please? Oh, I'm sure you'll loan me that. Thank you. I knew you wouldn't mind. Lying awake at night, dreaming dreams, wondering what you are doing. Lying awake at night and scheming schemes that would bring me to ruin. And as shadows creep, I've tried counting sheep, but old Mr. Sleep, he won't come to me. Tossing from side to side, I just ain't.
Unless my eyes deceive me, there is our old friend Jacques.
Yes, by Jove.
And all the times I've
So it
cried when they break proves that you're not beside me. Oh, what will the end of it be? What has the future for me? But lying awake at night, breaking my heart. Oh,
Thought I spotted you, Monsieur Poirot.
Ah, the good Jacques. How are you?
Not so bad, considering. And how's Captain Hastings?
Oh, top hole, thanks.
But lying awake at night, breaking my heart for you. You know, Brian, that was simply marvelous. Almost uncanny.
It's a wonderful bit of work.
No need to ask why you're here, Monsieur Poirot. Keeping an eye on his nibs, I suppose.
On His Highness, as you say. No objection, I hope.
Oh, a little unnecessary, perhaps. Scotland Yard's quite well able to protect our distinguished foreign visitors.
Scotland Yard, yes.
Especially when it is represented by Inspector Jacques.
Quite.
My government wished it, so I'm here.
Ah, well, I'll see you later.
I must be very good. Oh.
Tell me, Hastings, is that not Brian Martin, whom we so often see in American films?
Yes, I know him slightly.
He whispers very daringly to the lady.
Yes, he's always hanging about her nowadays. She's separated from her husband, you know.
So, she's married then?
Yes, she's Lady Edgware in private life.
I see.
Oh, will you pardon me for a minute, Brian? There's somebody over there I want to speak to. Monsieur Poirot, I believe.
At your service, Lady Edgware.
Oh, you Frenchmen are so cute. I just love your Parisian manners.
And our English policeman, I hope.
Oh, why, yes.
My friend Captain Hastings.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Monsieur Poirot, I want to consult you.
Certainly, madame. At what hour shall I call on you tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow means nothing in my life. Only the present counts. Why not now?
By all means, if you wish. We shall be quite undisturbed in there.
Monsieur Poirot, I've just got to get rid of my husband.
But, madame, getting rid of husbands is not my speciality.
Surely it's a lawyer you want.
Oh, I'm sick of lawyers. They may know about the law, but they don't seem to have any kind of natural sense.
And you think I have? Then tell me, why are you so anxious to get rid of Lord Edgware?
Because I want to get married again.
Surely a divorce is the thing to go for. It's as easy as buying a pound of tea nowadays.
You don't know my husband. His first wife ran away from him, left a baby behind. But he wouldn't divorce her. That's his nature. When she died, he married me. Well, I couldn't stick it. I left him and went back to the States.
And naturally, madame, you would not wish to give him ground.
If you knew my husband, you'd know that that'd be useless. He's a fanatic.
And who is the man you want to marry?
The Duke of Merton. I'm just crazy about him. He's so odd. Of course, he's very religious, but I dare say he'll grow out of it.
Meantime, Lord Edgware stands in the way of these romantic dreams.
Yeah. Of course, if we were in Chicago, I could get him bumped off quite easily. But you don't seem to run to gunmen over here.
No, madame. Here we consider human beings have a right to live. Even husbands.
Oh, I see.
Madame, I cannot help you.
Oh, no, Monsieur Poirot. I don't mean that I want you to go and kill him.
Merci, madame.
Captain Hastings.
Good Lord, I couldn't think of it. I never kill.
Oh, no. I want you to persuade Monsieur Poirot to go round and see my husband. Because if not, well, I guess I'll just have to call up a taxi and go and bump him off myself.
Oh, but madame, I should hate to drive you to that extremity.
You mean you will see him?
But certainly, madame.
Oh, I knew you would. Thank you. Oh, and Monsieur Poirot, I'm staying at the Barchester.
Oui, madame.
Au revoir.
Au revoir, madame.
I must go and find my partner. Sorry to have kept you, Brian.
Say, what's it all about?
Come on, I'll tell you while we're dancing.
I say, isn't she attractive?
Very. But such people go through life in great danger.
Danger?
Yes, because a woman like that sees only one thing in life, herself. And so sooner or later, disaster.
Oh, I don't know. She's vain, of course.
Vain and spoilt. And perhaps a trifle mad. Ah, Lord Edgware, he will see us at 11:30 this morning. I phoned his secretary last night. Toast?
Thanks. Rather surprising he's agreeing to see you.
There is nothing surprising, my dear Hastings. Greater men than Lord Edgware have found it difficult to refuse Hercule Poirot. Now, if it were not for my modest and retiring nature, I could tell you...
I know. You told me before.
Excuse me, sir. There's a gentleman to see Monsieur Poirot. A Mr. Brian Martin.
Good. Very good. Ask him to come in.
Good morning, Captain Hastings.
Good morning, Martin. How are you? This is Monsieur Poirot.
Yeah, morning.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Let me get you a chair.
No, thanks. I'm only staying a minute. See here, Monsieur Poirot. I'm hoping you didn't take Lady Edgware's request last night too flippantly and that you'll take on her case because I know her and, well, quite frankly, I'm frightened.
Why?
Because if you don't succeed with Lord Edgware, she may do something desperate. When I left her last night, she was frantic. She's so set on getting her freedom that she'll stick at nothing to get it.
You mean...
I mean that she'd kill just as easily as she'd drink her morning tea. That's what I mean, Monsieur Poirot, and that's all I wanted to say. But you will do your very best, won't you?
Mais naturellement, Lady Edgware is my client. But tell me...
That's all I came to say.
Then good day, monsieur.
Good morning, and thanks again.
I say, the poor chap has got it badly. We mustn't fail.
We will not fail. Come along.
Where?
Come in, Monsieur Poirot. And Captain Hastings, isn't it? Please sit down.
Yes.
I am familiar, of course, with your name.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you've come to see me on behalf of my wife.
That is so. Lady Edgware consulted me and...
She wants a divorce.
I'm quite aware of that.
Her suggestion was that we should discuss the matter.
There's nothing to discuss.
You refuse, then?
Certainly not.
Not? Come on, what is all this?
You don't refuse?
I'm at a loss to understand your astonishment, Monsieur Poirot.
You mean you are willing to divorce your wife?
Certainly. She knows that perfectly well.
Mais au contraire,
She wrote me 6 months ago, urging the point. I've an idea she wanted to marry again. Some film actor, I believe. I wrote her at Hollywood telling her I was willing.
You wrote and told her? She never said anything about that, Poirot.
Nevertheless, I did, 6 months ago. Why she sent you to me, I can't imagine. I suppose it's a question of money.
Extremely curious. But tell me, what is all this? You mean you are willing to divorce your wife? Certainly.
Certainly. She knows that perfectly well.
Extremely curious. There is something here that I do not understand at all.
Curious? It's more than curious. It's odd.
As regards money, I have no intention of making any financial arrangements.
But there is no question of any financial arrangement.
No question.
You must be going to marry a rich man.
There is something here I do not understand. Lady Edgware said she approached you repeatedly through lawyers.
She did. And finally, as I say, she wrote to me herself.
You having previously refused.
Very so.
But on receiving her letter, you changed your mind, Lord Edgware.
I altered my view.
The change was somewhat sudden. What was the cause?
That is my own business.
Pardon. I see. Well, we must not detain you any longer, Lord Edgware. I wish you good day.
Good day.
Oh.
I say, she looks very upset. I wonder who she is.
Probably his daughter. He has one. Are you surprised that she is sad?
Where now?
To the Barchester.
I've got it, Alice. See your turn. Hello? Yes? Oh, would you ask him to come up right away, please? Thank you. Alice, Monsieur Poirot's coming up here immediately. Now, I'll just go and slip on something decent. Tell him I won't be a minute. Monsieur Poirot.
Bonjour, madame.
Captain Hastings. Well?
Exactly the word, madame. It is well. Lord Edgware is perfectly willing to agree to a divorce.
What? Do you mean to say you've managed it? Oh, isn't he a genius?
No, madame, I cannot take compliments where they are not earned. 6 months ago, your husband wrote to you, withdrawing his opposition.
What's that you say? Wrote to me? Where?
It was when you were in Hollywood, we understand.
Well, I never got it. And to think that I've been fretting and half crazy all these months. Aren't you surprised, Alice?
Yes, indeed, my lady. His lordship must have changed a good deal since we knew him.
Yes, he must.
You cannot understand his attitude. It puzzles you.
It certainly does. But anyway, it's of no interest what made him change his mind, so long as he has.
It may not interest you, madame, but it interests me.
Maybe. But the thing is that I'm free at last.
Oh, not quite yet, you know.
Well, going to be free. The Duke's in Paris. I must cable him right away.
I'm glad, madame, that all is turning out as you wish. I will take my leave.
Oh, you must go so soon? Alice? Goodbye, Monsieur Poirot, and thanks a lot.
But I did nothing.
Oh, yes, you did. You brought me the good news, and I'm very, very grateful.
It is nothing. What is something is. What happened to that letter? Au revoir, madame.
Goodbye, Captain Hastings.
Good heavens, Poirot. What an unearthly hour to have breakfast.
I could not sleep, my friend. My mind, it was fixed on Lady Edgware. An interesting study, that woman, Hastings. This single idea, herself. She is shrewd in the business sense, but she has absolutely no intellect. Well, le bon Dieu, he cannot give everything.
Well, don't eat all the breakfast. I shan't be a moment dressing.
Regarding that letter Lady Edgware never received, there are 4 solutions to that problem. The first, that it was lost in the post. The second, that Lady Edgware was lying when she said she never received it. But I cannot see that that would be to her advantage. The third, Lord Edgware was lying. He never sent it. But I cannot see the point of such a lie. The fourth, someone suppressed that letter. Someone who did not want that marriage dissolved. Hastings, I would give a great deal to know what is behind this affair.
Yes, and I'd give a great deal for one of those cigarettes you're messing about with.
Oh, mon cher ami, pardon.
Thank you.
There is something. Someone of whom as yet I have but had a glimpse.
Inspector Japp to see you, sir.
Ah, le beau Jacques.
Good day, Monsieur Poirot. Captain Hastings.
Well, my good Japp, what brings you to see us?
I'll tell you that in a word. Murder.
Murder?
Yes. Lord Edgware was killed in his house last night, stabbed in the neck by his wife.
By his wife?
Yes?
How do you know that it was his wife who killed him?
She was recognized.
Recognized?
Yes. Not much concealment about it either. Lady Edgware drove up in a taxi.
A taxi?
Hastings, I beg of you, do not repeat everything that the good Jap says. It creates the irritation.
She rang the bell and asked for Lord Edgware. It was about 10 o'clock. I'm Lady Edgware, she says, as cool as a cucumber, and with that walks into the library and shuts the door. About 5 minutes later, the butler heard the front door slam. About 11, just before going to bed, he opened the library door, but it was dark. So he thought that his master had retired for the night. This morning, the body was discovered by him, stabbed in the back of the neck.
By Lady Edgware.
By Lady Edgware.
Well, you have the criminal, but have you the motive?
Yes, wanted to marry another man. Also often heard to utter threats.
Since everything goes so swimmingly, why come to us?
Because I heard that you were at Lord Edgware's yesterday morning.
Oh, I see.
Now, the moment I heard that, I said to myself, why does my lord want to see Monsieur Poirot? What's he afraid of? So before doing anything definite, I thought I'd come along and have a talk.
What do you mean by anything definite? Arresting the lady, I suppose.
Exactly.
You haven't seen her yet?
Oh, yes, I have. I went straight from Lord Edgware's to the Barchester. I wasn't wasting any time.
And what did she say, my friend? Eh?
Say? Huh. Wouldn't say a thing without a solicitor.
And you are positive she did it?
Positive.
Then how do you account for this? You do not read your morning paper very carefully.
Sir Montague Corner gave a dinner party last night at his house on the river at Chiswick. Amongst the distinguished guests present were Sir George and Lady Fisk, Mr. James Blunt,
etc., etc., and the charming Lady Edgware.
Oh, press stuff. Send out beforehand. They always do it. You'll find Our Lady wasn't there, or arrived later at 11 o'clock. And now perhaps you'll tell me why Lord Edgware sent for you.
Lord Edgware did not send for me, my dear Jap. It was I who requested him to give me an appointment.
Really? And for what reason?
No, I'm sure Monsieur Poirot will see me. It's very urgent. I've just heard. This is a terrible business. I've always dreaded it. I told you yesterday.
So you have jumped to the conclusion that Lady Edgware murdered her husband?
Do you mean I've got it wrong? That she had nothing to do with it?
She did it all right.
Perhaps you can help us, Monsieur Martin.
Sure. How? You see, Lady Edgware's a friend of mine.
But in a matter of this kind, you cannot allow friendship to influence you.
Yeah, that's all very well, but...
Hang it all, Martin, this is murder. It's a nasty business, a sticky business. It isn't done.
Yeah, but you don't understand. Lady Edgware isn't an ordinary murderess. She has no sense of right or wrong.
That'll be a question for the jury.
Come now. You cannot refuse to tell us what you know.
Yes, come now.
Well, I guess you're right. What do you want me to tell you?
I'm informed that Lady Edgware wanted her freedom in order to marry another man. You know who that man was?
Yeah.
Who?
The Duke of Merton.
The Duke of Merton. One of the richest men in England.
Yeah, he's rolling in money.
Wouldn't her husband divorce her?
No, he refused absolutely.
You certain of that?
Yeah.
There's your motive, Monsieur Poirot.
No, my dear Jacques. I saw Lord Edgware yesterday, as you know, and he agreed to a divorce.
He agreed?
That's quite correct.
Yes,
Well, you should have told Lady Edgware at once.
I did. You see, it impairs the motive a little, my dear Jacques, does it not? And now, Monsieur Martin, before you jump too hastily to conclusions, cast your eye over this.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I'm afraid that doesn't make an alibi. She never went to that dinner.
How do you know?
Well, she told me she wasn't going.
You see? Now, Monsieur Poirot, don't try any of your funny theories. The case is as I say.
The case as you presented, my dear Jacques, revolts the intelligence.
What do you mean revolts the intelligence? It doesn't revolt mine.
Naturellement. Well, Monsieur Martin, I thank you for your help. I'll keep in touch.
I always thought at a moment she was crazy.
Well, it's all clear to me.
My dear Jacques, you can't tell me you're serious? Here is a young woman who wishes to get rid of her husband. So she repeats before witnesses that she's thinking of killing him, calls at his house, has herself announced, stabs him, and goes away. Oh, no.
Rather clumsy, what?
Clumsy. It's the imbecility.
Well, it's all to the advantage of the police when criminals lose their heads. We'd better get along to the Barchester.
Très bien.
You were quite right not to answer any questions without consulting me. Oh, Charlie. John.
Yes, come. Show them right in, Alice. Oh, hello.
Bonjour, madame.
This is Mr. Moxon, everybody.
How do you do?
Now, Mr. Moxon, this is Mr. Yap.
Jeff!
Oh, Jap, pardon me. Who seems quite positive that I went out last night and killed my husband. Oh. Won't you sit down?
Merci.
As Lady Edgware's lawyer, would you tell me when this unfortunate occurrence took place? As a safe margin, I should say between 8:30 and 10:30 last night.
Why, that's all right. I was at a party at that time. Oh, perhaps I oughtn't to have said that.
If at that time last night you were at a party, Lady Edgware, then I can see no objection to your informing the inspector of the fact.
I agree.
Quite so. I only want a statement of your movements yesterday evening, Lady Edgware.
I was at Sir Montague Corners at Chiswick.
What time did you go there, madame?
I started about 7:30. I called in at the Piccadilly Palace Hotel, said goodbye to a friend who was leaving for the States. I got to Chiswick about 8 o'clock or so. Do you like this hat, Monsieur Poirot?
Very much, madame. Tell me, what time did you leave?
Oh, about 11.
And you came straight back here.
Yes?
And whilst you were at the dinner party, you didn't leave it.
Well, I
So you did leave it.
don't know what you mean. I was called up on the telephone while we were at dinner.
Ah.
Tell me, madame, who phoned you?
Well, I guess it was a kind of hoax. Because when I lifted off the receiver, a woman's voice said, "Is that Lady Edgware?" And when I said yes, she just laughed and rang off.
You didn't go outside the house to telephone.
Of course not. Why should I?
No, of course not.
Exactly. Why should she?
No, of course not.
How long were you away from the dinner table?
About a minute and a half.
I see. Well, all this will have to be verified.
Naturally. You'll go ahead and verify it.
Monsieur Poirot, could you meet me at Lord Edgware's in half an hour or so?
Certainly.
Well, I'll say good day.
Monsieur Poirot,
Madame?
it seems kind of lucky that I changed my mind and went to that party after all.
What is it you say, madame? You changed your mind?
Yes, I'd meant to give it a miss.
What made you change your mind?
Milady? You asked for these to be brought in as soon as they came, milady.
Yes, just put them down someplace, please. Oh, Alice, why did I change my mind and go to that party last night?
I made you, my lady. It doesn't do to forget engagements. You do it much too often. People don't always forgive it. They turn nasty.
Oh, no. I hate black anyway. I never wear it. I suppose as a correct widow, I've got to. Oh, look at these frightful hats. Alice, will you please ring up Lucien's and ask him to send round a fitter and some mourning?
I will wish you au revoir, madame.
Oh, Monsieur Poirot, you must go so soon. I'm sorry. Au revoir. Alice, will you see them out, please? Goodbye, Captain Hastings.
Bye. Do you require...
Goodbye, Mr. Moxon. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
So nice of you all to come.
Thank you.
These terrible hats.
When Monsieur Poirot and Captain Hastings arrive, bring them in here at once.
Very good, sir. Here they are, I think.
It's Monsieur Poirot.
Oh, yes. Would you come in, sir, please?
Ah, my dear Jap, already here, what?
Yes, and unless Sir Montague Corner and his guests were all lying, she couldn't have done it.
You mean she was at Chiswick?
Yes, but how could she be in Chiswick and here at the same time?
That's the point, Jap.
Not only did the butler see her, but the secretary, Miss Carroll, saw her as well. They both swear that it was Lady Edgware who was here between 9 and 10 last night.
How long has the butler been in service here?
6 months.
Eh bien, my friend, then he could never have recognized Lady Edgware since he had never seen her before.
Of course not. How could he?
Well, he knew her by pictures in the papers.
That's a thought,
And
Jap.
in any case, the secretary knew her. She'd been with Lord Edgware 5 or 6 years. She was absolutely positive.
Well, I should just like to see this secretary.
Oh, well, that's easy.
Tell me, Jap, you find out some things. Who comes into the title?
A nephew, Captain Ronald Marsh. A bit of a waster, so I understand.
Sir?
Ask Miss Carroll to come and see us.
Just one moment. How was the lady dressed who called last night?
Lady Edgware, sir? In black. Black walking dress, small black hat, string of pearls, and a pair of grey gloves.
One moment. Do you bolt the front door at night?
Usually, sir. Last night, Miss Geraldine went to the opera, so I left it unbolted.
Miss Geraldine?
His Lordship's daughter, sir.
Oh, yes, yes. A request, Miss Carroll.
Oh, Miss Carroll, they want you in there.
Who?
Scotland Yard.
Please come in. Pray be seated.
Do sit down.
Now, Miss Carroll, are you absolutely certain that it was Lady Edgware who came here last night?
Of course I'm certain. I saw her
Where did you see her, mademoiselle?
in the hall,
Where were you?
on the gallery, looking down.
Oh. Well, I'll get you to show me later. But first tell me, how many keys are there to the front door?
How many keys?
Yes, front door keys.
2. Lord Edgware always carried one. The other was kept in a drawer in the hall, so that anyone who was going to be late in could take it.
And that's all there were.
There was a third, but Captain Marsh lost it.
Captain Marsh?
The new Lord Edgware.
Uh-huh. Did he come to the house much?
He used to live here until 3 years ago, before the late Lord Edgware married his present wife.
Why'd he leave?
I don't know. He couldn't get on with his uncle. Got into debt. They quarrelled. Lord Edgware forbade him the house. That's all.
Thank you, Miss Carroll. Now I just want to try a little experiment. Will you be so good as to follow me into the hall?
Please, miss.
Hastings, I want you to go up into the gallery and look down into the hall from the spot where Miss Carroll saw Lady Edgware.
Yes?
Perhaps you would be so kind just to indicate it.
Certainly. A little more to the right. That's it.
Ah! My friend, you can help us. You admitted Lady Edgware.
I did, sir.
Then please admit me. I shall be Lady Edgware. She came in.
Yes, sir. She passed me, turned, and stood there.
Here.
Yes, sir.
Saying she would find Lord Edgware herself.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now then, Hastings, I want you to keep your eyes fixed on me. Oh, she was wearing a hat. With a brim?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now watch me, Hastings. Miss Carroll, she did not turn around and speak again to the butler.
She went straight in.
Bien. Hastings, watch carefully. Hastings, you can come down.
What's the idea, Monsieur Poirot?
The idea you will see. Did you notice the rose between my lips?
rose between your lips. I say, you're not going all Grecian, are you?
Gone mad if you ask me.
But you did not observe it.
No, but then I couldn't see your face.
Exactly. Neither could you, mademoiselle, have seen Lady Edgware's face. You, like Hastings, could have only seen the back of her head.
Back of her head, her voice, her walk. It's all the same thing. I tell you, I know it was Lady Edgware.
That is all, mademoiselle.
Well, I'd better get back to the yard. See you later.
My dear Jacques et Rose.
Ah. Now, look here, Poirot. Oh.
Hastings.
What?
Most dangerous witness, Miss Carroll. Dangerous because inaccurate.
Oh, I don't know. A voice and a walk are just as unmistakable.
No.
Well, I think they're the most characteristic things about a person.
Therefore, they may be the most easily counterfeited.
Counterfeited?
Cast your mind back, Hastings. Do you remember Carlotta Adams' clever impersonations?
Why, you don't think it's possible that... Oh, no, that would be too much of a coincidence.
Regarded from one angle, there may be no coincidence at all.
But why should Carlotta Adams want to kill Lord Edgware? She didn't even know him.
How do you know she did not know him? Do not assume things, Hastings.
You have a theory, then?
The possibility of Carlotta Adams being involved in this struck me from the very beginning. Will you just look up her telephone number?
You think that...
I think of every possibility. Dressed in black, that is what the butler said. But Lady Edgware never wears black. She hates it.
Ah, here we are.
Uh-huh. Just make a note of her address. Hello, Exchange.
What's the matter? Miss Carlotta, wake up. Oh, do please wake up. What is it? Oh, Miss Carlotta. Oh, my dear. Oh, what is it?
Hello. Hello.
Sir, there's no reply.
We'll try them again. No. Hastings, we are too late. We must go round at once. May we come in?
Oh, yes, please.
I am Monsieur Poirot, a detective. Tell me about it.
She didn't ring for me this morning as usual, sir. So I only came in a little while ago. I spoke to her. She didn't answer. She couldn't wake. She kept on trying. I could see she was ill, but I couldn't wake her. Then quite suddenly she fell back, dead.
Has the doctor been?
Yes, sir. He was called away on an urgent case. He said he'd come back.
What did he say?
Overdose of sleeping draughts, sir. That was why I couldn't rouse her.
Yes. Did Miss Adams often take stuff to make her sleep?
Now and then she'd take something if she had a headache. I didn't see her take anything when she came back last night.
She was out during the evening then?
Yes, sir.
Oh, she was? Did she tell you where she'd been?
No, sir.
Leave this to me, please, Hastings.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How was she dressed when she went out?
Black dress and black hat, sir.
Any jewelry?
Only the pearl necklace she always wore.
And grey gloves?
Yes, sir. Her gloves were grey.
What time did she return?
Hastings, please.
Just before midnight, sir.
And what was her manner then?
She was terribly tired, sir.
But not upset or distressed?
No, very nervous and excited, in a drowsy sort of way. She was very sleepy. She wanted to add a postscript to a letter she had in her bag, but she was too tired, so she sealed it up and sent me out to post it. When I came back, she was lying asleep on the bed, so I left her.
Did Miss Adams take this case with her when she went out last night?
Yes, sir.
You permit that I open it?
Yes, sir.
A wig, a box of makeup.
This is Dr. Heath, sir.
May I introduce myself? I am here before Inspector Jupp of Scotland Yard. My name is Poirot. You may have heard of it.
Naturally.
This is Captain Hastings.
How do you do?
I understand you ascribe Miss Adams' death to an overdose of sleeping draught.
Yes, she had evidently taken it for some time.
What makes you think so?
This. I took it away for safekeeping. It was in that case.
This?
Look inside. Look what's written inside.
Something engraved. C.A. from D. Paris, November the 10th. November the 10th.
Exactly. And we are now in June, which seems to show that she's been in the habit of taking the stuff for at least 6 months.
Paris, D. When did you first see this box?
I've never seen it before, sir.
You've never seen it?
No, sir, never.
Oh. Pince-nez? I did not know that Miss Adams wore glasses, but perhaps these are for reading. Do you happen to know if...
I've never attended her
I've
before.
never seen her wear any, sir.
Well, I wish you good day.
Au revoir.
The maid will know where to find me.
Seems pretty positive that she did it, and then committed suicide.
What sort of a man is this new heir, the Captain Ronald Marsh?
I say, Ronnie, where were you last night? You promised to come round and have a game of poker.
Sorry, had another date.
Well, you rather let us down, you know.
Hello, Ronnie. Telegram for you. I've just taken it off the board. Thanks. Whiskey and soda. Tell us if there's anything good for the 3:15, won't you? Great Scott!
I know. A loser.
No, my friend, a winner. Good Lord. My uncle, Lord Edgware. He's dead. I'm awfully sorry, old man. Thanks. Come here. Tell him to make that £20 bet of mine 200.
I say.
It's all right, they'll take it. Tell him I'm Lord Edgware now.
Right. If I have time, I'll get it on. They'll be off in a minute.
Sir Montague Corner, is it not?
Yes.
You remember we met in Paris?
Why, it was Monsieur Poirot. Well, this is most interesting.
Glad to see you again. This is my friend, Captain Hastings.
How do you do?
How do you do?
They're off.
What are the colours?
White, black bands. She's lying nice and handy.
I suppose you've heard about Lord Edgware's death.
Yes. A man from Scotland Yard came down and asked me a few questions.
Would it trouble you if I put 2 more?
Not a bit.
Ah, there you are.
Ah, this is Mr. Donald Ross, Monsieur Poirot, Captain Hastings.
How do you do? How do you do?
He was present at my dinner party last night. In fact, he sat next to Lady Edgware.
You know, it was lucky for that lady she was with you.
So it seems. I'm glad she was.
Bet this brute wins. Always away when you've plenty of money and it doesn't matter a hang.
How long was Lady Edgware out of the room while she was phoning?
2 minutes at the outside, I should say.
Nothing happened during that evening, nothing that you would call peculiar or odd?
No.
Not unless you would call it odd being 13 at dinner. You were 13? You're evidently not superstitious, Sir Montague.
Well, as a matter of fact, one of the guests failed to turn up.
13 at table? Who got up first? I did. Oh, then, by all the rules of the game, you've got to be careful. Yes, first to rise, first to die. That's the saying, isn't it? Yes.
She's full of running. Watch her come through. Well, congratulations. That's a big win.
Exactly, because I don't need it.
Yes, but how long before you give it all back to the bookies?
Believe it or not, that sees me out. I've got a packet back from them. Here. You look for winners in future. I'm through.
I wonder.
Hello? Hello? Yes. This is Inspector Japp speaking. Would you please tell Monsieur Poirot when he comes in to meet me at Lord Edgware's at 7 o'clock this evening. Very important.
I'll tell him, sir. 7 o'clock. Goodbye, sir.
That's right, gentlemen. Make yourselves comfortable. Will you drink?
No, thanks.
No, merci. We will not drink now.
Then what can I do for you?
What we want to know, Lord Edgware, is, do you know Lady Edgware well?
That's right.
No. I was chucked out of here 3 months before she married my uncle. A beautiful woman, but no subtlety. Methods rather crude, don't you think?
Possibly.
I believe you think she didn't do it. So she's got you round, has she?
I have a great admiration for beauty, but also for evidence.
Evidence?
Perhaps you don't know, Lord Edgware, that Lady Edgware was at a party at Chiswick last night, at the time she was supposed to have been seen here.
Oh. Then that lets her out, then. I see. But there still remains the wicked nephew. Ah, Monsieur Poirot, I know what's in your mind. And I had a motive. A very strong motive. I called to see my uncle yesterday morning. The first time I'd been in this house for 3 years. I called to ask for money. And I went away without getting any. That same evening, that very same evening, Lord Edgware dies. But the trouble is, I have an alibi, too. I happened to be at the opera at the time of the crime, in the box of that distinguished financier, Mr. Dortheimer. His wife and daughter were there also. How's that?
It seems an excellent alibi. One more question. How long have you known Carlotta Adams?
Why on earth should you want to know that?
I was curious, that was all.
Carlotta Adams, let me see. About a year.
Know her well?
Yes.
And you liked her?
I like her very much.
Then you will be sorry.
Sorry? What about it?
Haven't you seen the evening paper?
Never read him.
She is dead.
Dead? Carlotta dead? But she was perfectly well the last time I saw her.
When was that?
The day before yesterday, I think. I don't remember.
All the same, she is dead.
What was it? A street accident?
No, an overdose of sleeping draught.
That's right.
Oh, I say, poor kid. How terribly sad.
Is it not?
Yes.
But she was getting on so well here. She was going to get her kid sister over from New York. They were going to settle here.
You say kid sister?
Yes. Let's see, what was her name? Lucy. That's right. She was devoted to her.
Do you by any chance know the sister's address?
Yes, I do. It was Carlotta's flat in New York. 107 Madison Buildings.
107, thank you.
No, you better not. I tell you I will see him. I will.
Please, Miss Geraldine, please.
I must. Monsieur Poirot, I must speak to you.
Mademoiselle?
On the day before my father was killed, you and Captain Hastings came to see him, didn't you?
Yes, mademoiselle?
Why did he send for you? Was he afraid of something? Please tell me. I must know.
Mademoiselle, what passed between Lord Edgware and ourselves was in confidence.
Then it was about... I mean, it must have been something to do with the family. I'm his daughter. I've a right to know what my father dreaded just before his death. It isn't fair to leave me in the dark. It isn't fair to him not to tell me.
Were you so fond of your father, mademoiselle?
Fond of him? I hated him. He was cruel and unjust. His death means freedom for me and independence.
Steady now, steady.
I'm not in the least anxious to find his murderer. For all we know, the person who killed him may have had reasons, ample reasons.
That is a dangerous principle to adopt, mademoiselle. A person who is once killed nearly always kills again, sometimes again and again.
That doesn't concern me. Anyhow, I can't believe it.
Supposing I told you that it had already happened, that already to save himself, the murderer had killed a second time.
No, I won't have that. If you mean Carlotta Adams, that was a case of suicide. An overdose of sleeping draught.
No, my dear Jap. The same hand that killed Lord Edgware killed Carlotta Adams. Don't you agree, Lord Edgware?
Why do you ask him? Why should he know?
Who are you writing to, Poirot?
I write, my dear fellow, to the sister of Carlotta Adams in America. I hurry because I fancy that Brian Martin will be here in a moment. Ah, that is probably him now.
Inspector Japp, sir.
I'm glad you're in. I've checked up on Carlotta Adams and her attaché case. I've checked up on his lordship, too. That was correct about the opera. He was there all right.
So?
Now about Geraldine Marsh. She dined with some people called West. They took her to the opera and saw her home afterwards.
I see. So Le Capitaine Marsh and Miss Geraldine were both at the opera, but with different parties.
That's so.
Well, have you arrived at any conclusion?
Yes, I have. Carlotta Adams was the woman. She killed and committed suicide. Anyway, that's the assumption I'm going to work on. Oh, by the way, the doctor says that that wound in Lord Edgware's neck wasn't made by an ordinary penknife, something of that kind, but with a different shape of blade, and devilish sharp.
I see. Thank you, Jacques. Oh, just one more suggestion before you go.
Yes?
In addition to your inquiries regarding Miss Adams, I would suggest that you visit the taxi rank outside the Covent Garden Opera House. Find someone who took 2 fares to the neighborhood of Lord Edgware's house on the night of the murder.
A new idea, eh? Well, it can't do any harm. Goodbye, Mr. Poirot.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not at all. It's my fault. I didn't see you. Can I come in?
Ah, Monsieur Martin, do please.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming along so promptly. Won't you sit down?
Thanks. Well, what can I do for Monsieur Poirot?
There is a point in connection with Lord Edgware's death which I'm very anxious to clear up.
Yeah?
6 months ago, you were in Hollywood, I believe, Monsieur Martin.
Yeah.
Lady Edgware was there also.
Yeah, we were acting together.
Quite. It seems that at about that time, Lord Edgware wrote a letter to Lady Edgware offering her her freedom.
What? Well, Lady Edgware never told me anything about it.
No, because she never received it. The letter was intercepted.
Intercepted?
But who on earth? That's just what we've got to find out.
The only person likely to intercept that letter would be someone who did not wish her to obtain her freedom.
But
I feel that the time has come for plain speaking. I am going to suggest to you that you, for one, did not wish it.
what the devil do you mean?
I'm going to suggest to you that you were madly in love with Lady Edgware.
Well, and what if I was?
And that you knew full well that Lady Edgware wished to marry the Duke of Merton. That it was for that reason that she desired her freedom.
Well, of course I knew it. I told you so the other day.
Exactly.
Look here, Poirot. I'll advise you to be careful of what you're saying. You're suggesting that I suppressed that letter.
And what if I am?
It's a lie. Now let me tell you something, Monsieur Poirot. Even if Lady Edgware had obtained her freedom, the Duke of Merton would never have married her.
What do you mean?
Since you're so darn clever, suppose you find that out for yourself.
What on earth did he mean by that?
Excuse me, Your Grace, but there is a Monsieur Poirot, a detective, and a Captain Hastings, who beg that you will give them a moment. They telephoned, they say.
Telephoned? His Grace is evidently of a religious turn of mind.
Of course. Do you not know that he is the leader of the Anglo-Catholic party in this country? What you would call a pillar of the church.
Yes, rather heavy reading, I should think.
Will you kindly step this way, gentlemen?
You may perhaps know my name.
I have no acquaintance with it.
I study the psychology of crime.
For what reason did you wish to see me?
I'm at present engaged in investigating the circumstances connected with the death of Lord Edgware. A blot, 1,000 apologies. C'était très maladroit de ma part, je vous demande pardon.
Indeed. I was not acquainted with him.
You are, I think, acquainted with his wife, with the Lady Edgware.
That is so.
You are aware that she is supposed to have had a very strong motive for desiring the death of her husband.
No, I am really not aware of anything of the kind.
I should like to ask you outright, Your Grace, are you shortly going to marry Lady Edgware?
When I am engaged to marry anyone, the fact will be announced in the newspapers. I consider your question an impertinence. Good morning.
But I did not mean, Your Grace, that...
Good morning.
I say, that didn't go too well.
On the contrary, I now know exactly how the case stands.
How do you know? By his manner?
No, by the letter he was writing. In my early days in the police force, I learned to read handwriting upside down. That letter was to Lady Edgware, that I noticed. Also one phrase. Dearest, I can hardly wait through the long months.
Poirot, you can't do that. Overlook a private letter.
My dear Hastings, we are investigating murder.
But it's not done. It's not cricket.
Very similar, my dear fellow. In each case, one can be so easily what you would call stumped.
Oh, that's jolly good.
It went off wonderfully, Alice. There were hundreds of people at the church. And there was a terrific crush at the cemetery. They were turning them away. I counted at least 6 cameramen. They got me going into the church and coming out again. Do you know, I'm beginning to think that black suits me after all. It's very effective, you know, against white marble.
Very old family, the Duke of Mertons. I see he is the 17th holder of the title. Do you believe in heredity, Hastings?
You bet I do. That's how I got my money. I wouldn't have much time for the Duke, though. He's a self-satisfied ass. Almost as bad as
Inspector Japp, sir.
My dear Japp, charmed to see you.
Well, things are moving.
I congratulate you. What has happened?
Well, I found that taxi driver and hunted up Carlotta Adams' movements.
Yes?
I found that the lady had left an attaché case in the cloakroom at Euston at 8:45 that night.
Euston? That's the nearest big station to Lord Edgware's.
The case has since been identified as Carlotta Adams's.
And doubtless she went there, made up her face in the cloakroom, and then left the case. When was it taken out again?
About 10:30, the clerk said, by the same lady. Now, amongst other things, I've traced that Carlotta Adams was in the corner cafe in the Strand between 10 and 11.
How did you discover that?
Well, the papers have made a lot about the little gold box with the ruby initials. And a waitress reading about it remembered that she'd served a lady that evening who had just such a box in her hand. She remembered the CA on it. Now, I've seen the girl, and I don't think there's much doubt about it. The lady seemed to be filling in time waiting for a friend. And after a time, she gave it up and went out.
It was a rendezvous. A rendezvous with someone who did not turn up.
That's your theory, Monsieur Poirot. A mysterious man in the background. That's a myth. Well, I'll bring in that taxi man. Come in. His name's Jobson. Picked up 2 people outside the opera on the night of the crime.
That's right.
Is that one of them?
That's right. It's the lady.
And is that the other?
Couldn't swear to it. It's like him, though.
That'll be Miss Geraldine and Captain Marsh, all right. You picked him up at about 10:30, eh?
That's right.
Or was it nearer 10:15?
That's right.
Come on now, which was it?
Between 10 and 11.
I see. Well, go on.
Well, they tell me to drive to Regent's Gate. They tell me the house when I got there. They tell me to be quick, too.
It takes you 6 or 7 minutes to get there.
That's right. Well, a gentleman stopped me about number 8. Lady gets out, walks down the road, along the houses on the other side.
Towards numbers 15 or 16.
That's right.
And she went into the house.
That's right.
And the gentleman didn't go in.
Aye, she did. After about 5 minutes. Seemed to get impatient. Then after a few minutes, he comes out again with the young lady. Gets into my cab, tells me to drive back to the opera, which I done.
You wait over there. That's all you know?
That's right.
And now what do you make of it, my dear Japp? Did Carlotta Adams kill Lord Edgware? Or is Le Capitaine Marsh your man? Or oughtn't we perhaps to consider Miss Geraldine?
Excuse me, Inspector. This has just come up from the yard. It's from the New York police.
I shall want you again.
That's right.
Read your request information, Carlotta Adams. Stop. Following is copy of letter to Lucy Adams, her sister. Stop. Dearest little sister, I'm sorry I wrote such a scrappy bit last week, but was rather busy. The other night I met Lady Edgware, and she was ever so sweet about my show and my impersonation of her, which brings me round to what I'm going to tell you. You know that she no longer lives with her husband. I've heard a lot about him too lately, and he's no beauty, I can tell you. He treated his nephew, Captain Marsh, in a most shameful way. By the way, Captain Marsh enjoyed my show very much. He said, I believe it would take in Lord Edgware himself. Look here, will you take on something for a bet? I laughed and said, how much? Lucy, darling, the answer fairly took my breath away. $10,000. $10,000, think of it, just to help someone win a silly bet. Well then, we laid our heads together and got down to details. I'll tell you all about it next week. Lots of love. Yours, Carlotta.
Complicates things a little, my good chap, does it not?
Yes, I admit I can't piece things together yet. If Carlotta Adams didn't do it, she was in the scheme. And Captain Marsh may possibly be in it too.
So it comes round to the man in the background after all.
There you are, dear girl. I got them out at once. I want to thank you again. Just ever as decent of you.
You know, I'm only too glad to help you.
Bless you. I only wish I was worth it.
Don't talk like that.
You're a brick.
Inspector Jeff and Monsieur Poirot, my lord.
Ah, gentlemen. Sit down.
Yes.
I must warn you, my lord, that anything you may
I
say...
can guess why you're here, Inspector. I expect you'd like me to make a statement.
That's as you please, my lord.
So my beautiful alibi's busted, eh? Taxi man, I suppose.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I was in a hole for money. I tried my uncle. No good. Quite by chance, I met my cousin Geraldine at the opera. She'd always been awfully decent, and she suggested that I should take her pearls.
And the pearls were here, I suppose. So off you went.
Exactly.
Why did you follow her into the house?
Well, she was such a deuce of a time. I got anxious.
Why?
You see, those pearls were family jewels. I had visions of Lord Edgware stopping her and browbeating her. I thought I ought to go in and shoulder the responsibility.
Very noble of you.
How did you get in?
She'd left the door ajar. She was only going to be a moment. I went in. I listened at the library door, expecting to hear voices. There wasn't a sound. Just at that moment, Geraldine came downstairs with the pearls. Her maid had put them away. We left the house together and went straight back to the opera.
A very good story.
You don't believe it. Very well. Ask Geraldine. Ask Miss Geraldine to come to the library.
And what's all you've told us got to do with your wager with Miss Adams?
Wager with Miss Adams? What on earth are you talking about?
Do you deny that you offered her $10,000 to come here and impersonate Lady Edgware that night?
$10,000? Nonsense. I hadn't got you to sum.
You don't seem to have much difficulty in raising money.
Your cousin has told us about the pearls.
About the pearls?
Yes. I would like to know, where was he standing when you came down the stairs?
In the hall. He was just turning away from the library door.
Good enough. Lord Edgware, I must ask you to come along with me to the police station.
But he wasn't coming out of the library. He hadn't been in.
How do you know that when you're upstairs looking for your jewels?
Oh, come along if you're coming.
But they're taking him away. They believe he did it. You do too.
No, mademoiselle, I do not believe it. But the good chap, he must have his way.
Hello, Poirot. What progress?
Much, my friend. I have been concentrating on the question of that little gold box. The gold box which contained the sleeping draught by which Carlotta Adams met her end.
Yes?
I have cabled the French police to make inquiries from all the jewelers in Paris.
You think that...
An idea has come to me. Why did not Miss Adams' maid recognize that box? From the date on it, apparently Miss Adams had had it for 6 months. It therefore seems strange that the maid should not have seen it, does it not?
Yes, very.
Then I will tell you why she had not seen it. That date was a blind. The box had only recently been given to her, possibly the day before her death, to make it appear that she was in the habit of taking a sleeping draught. Now then, who bought it and gave it to her? If we can discover that, we shall be a step forward. And now see. Oh, the light is much better over there. Let's go. This letter is sent by Lucy Adams from America in answer to my request. It is Carlotta's letter. We know the contents because it was cabled to the good job by the New York police. But look at it. Well, do you not see? The sheets except one have a clean edge. But this one has been torn. They were double sheets. So you comprehend one page of the letter is missing.
Captain Marsh enjoyed my show very much. He said, but it makes sense.
Yes, that is where the cleverness of the idea comes in. But read on and you will see.
He said, I believe it would take in Lord Edgware himself.
You see it now? The letter breaks off where she is talking of the Captain Marsh. Then on the new sheet she goes on, he said. But a page is missing. The he of the new page may not be the he of the old page, namely the Captain Marsh. In fact, it is not the he of the old page.
Not?
It is another man altogether who proposed that hoax. You see, the removal of that one page on the letter is capable of being twisted into a damning accusation of another man. A man, too, who has a motive for Lord Edgware's death. Ah, it was a gift. The money for the confiture, as you say.
Money for the... Oh, money for jam. Oh, yes, jolly good. I'm sorry. You were saying...
I was going to say. He tears the sheet off and replaces the letter.
But how did the man, whoever he was, get hold of the letter?
That is the point. And it will be as hard to solve, my dear Hastings, as the problem of how he gave her that sleeping draught.
You going to tell Jack all this?
No, not yet. He would but say another nest of the mare. The girl wrote on an odd sheet of paper, c'est tout. What can I say to that? Nothing. It is a thing that might have happened. I only know that it did not happen because it is necessary that it should not. Figure to yourself, Hastings. If only that man had had the method and order to have cut the sheet and not torn it, we should have noticed nothing.
So we deduce he's a man of careless habits.
Or he might have been pressed for time. Another point. Does his name really begin with D, the initial on the box? Or does the D stand for a nickname by which he was known to her? A man whose initial is D. We have got to find him, Hastings. Yes, we have got to find him. Ah. This must be Paris. Hello? Hello, Paris? Oui, c'est Poirot qui parle. Bon. In a moment we shall know. Ah, Bonnard, ça va, mon vieux? Très bien, merci. Eh bien, dis-moi, quelle nouvelle? Oui? Oui? Quel nom? Ah, Carly. Très bien, je te félicite, mon vieux. Merci bien, au revoir.
Good news?
Great news! The box was bought in Paris, ordered by letter from London. Signed, Constance Ackerley, a fictitious name, no doubt. It was packed up and called for by a woman, short, middle-aged, and wearing pince-nez. Now, who?
Miss Carroll, she wears glasses.
No, that is the imbecility. Miss Carroll's glasses were concave. These are not. Now, who? Who else? Ah, we are busy tonight.
Hello?
Yes? Who?
Oh, Monsieur Poirot, it's Donald Ross speaking.
Yes?
I want to see you. I can't very well mention names over the phone, but it's about a remark made at dinner just now. I've hurried back to my flat to phone you. I think it's got a strong bearing on Lord Edgware's death.
So, with whom are you dining? Tell me.
I'm afraid I can't. Not on the phone. Hold on a minute, will you? Hang on.
Hastings, this promises to be intriguing. Hello? Hello, are you there? The receiver is still off, I can hear, but he does not speak again.
Perhaps it...
Hello? Hello? Hastings, there is something queer going on. I sense danger. You must go to Ross's flat at once before it is too late. Stabbed at the base of the skull.
What does it mean, Poirot?
It means that what this young man had to tell me incriminated the murderer of Lord Edgware. That is why he had to be silenced.
This beats all.
No, my friend, it simplifies everything. I have only to find out one little point, just one little point. Oh, mon Dieu, I've been blind, foolish.
What?
In an hour's time, we will all meet at the Barchester, and I will tell you. In 1 hour.
Her ladyship isn't back from the theatre yet.
But she will not mind that we wait for her return, n'est-ce pas?
Can I get you anything, sir? Cigarette or whiskey and soda?
A cigarette, if you will. But we are not drinking.
I'll take my work into the other room.
Very fine. But what a pity. A little tear.
Really, sir? That's not a tear, sir. That's on purpose.
Of course, how foolish of me.
I'll ring through to the theatre and tell her ladyship that you're here.
Why did you think that was a tear?
Did I think so? Or did I want the good Alice to put on the pince-nez which I had substituted? Those were not hers that she saw so well with, but the ones that we found in Carlotta Adams' vanity bag at her flat. Here are the pince-nez that the good Alice put down when she let us in.
But how did she see so well with the ones you substituted?
Because they were originally hers, my dear Hastings.
Then it was Ellis.
Please admit. Ah, the good chap.
Not late, am I?
No, my good friend.
What are you puzzling over?
The original of the letter cabled to you by the New York police. It has been sent to me by the sister of Carlotta Adams.
Well?
You not see?
I see it's a letter. Yes, well, what about it?
Hastings, do you remember my saying to you that if the murderer had been a man of method and order, he would have cut this page, not torn it?
Yes?
I was wrong. There is method and order throughout the whole of this crime. This page had to be torn, not cut. Look, see for yourself.
Come on, Monsieur Poirot, speak up.
Very well. Jacques, tell me, what is the first word on the torn page?
He, the man who...
That is where we have been wrong. The word is not he, it is she. That is why the page had to be torn and not cut, to remove the first letter.
She? So it was a woman?
Ask the good Alice to come back.
Oh, Ellis, Monsieur Poirot would like to speak to you a moment.
Now look here, Poirot.
Oh, Alice, you recently collected a packet from some jeweler in Paris.
Yes, sir.
What was in that packet?
I haven't an idea, sir.
No? Oh, thank you, Alice. You limp a little. Ah, the corn.
I cut my foot.
You should be careful, Alice. Dangerous things, corn knives.
Well, do you know one of the first people I suspected?
And then you would have been wrong. It was not Alice.
Oh, milady. Well, I've not been long, have I? Are they still in there?
Yes, milady. Monsieur Poirot, Captain Hastings...
Oh, I'll give them supper downstairs. Will you tell Louis that I've got guests? Oh, wait a minute. I think I'll slip into something decent. You know, the mauve dress, Alice, with a frill.
Yes, I suppose it would go that way. But why kill Ross?
Why kill Ross, you ask? Ah, that is where her alibi was her undoing. Because Donald Ross was a guest at that dinner at Chiswick's, and the conversation and mental attitude of the lady there was very different from Lady Edgware's mental attitude when he dined with her alone at a later date. Something Lady Edgware said or did told him that this was another woman. Perhaps he told her so. Perhaps she realized that she had made a faux pas. That we can only surmise. But connecting it in some way with Lord Edgware's death, Donald Ross hurries to his flat and telephones me. Before Ross can tell me on the telephone what he fears, Lady Edgware is hot on his heels. Scarcely has he picked up the receiver than she knocks at his door. He admits her, then returns to the phone. At that moment she strikes, and Donald Ross is silenced forever.
You mean to tell me that you think that she committed all these murders? That she...
I do not think, my friend. I know she did. Every one of them.
Devilish cunning.
Yes, the cunning of a monomaniac. And the cruelty and vindictiveness of a self-centered woman. You remember what I said to you, Hastings, the first time I met her? I said...
Look out!
No, no, madame. 3 murders are quite enough. Alice's corn knife, I thought so. That was the weapon shop.
Well, you needn't be so rough. You might at least consider my appearance.
Appearances, my dear lady, are definitely against you.
I can't imagine what came unstuck. Everything was so carefully planned.
Madame, you tried to pull the wool over the eyes of Hercule Poirot.
And I'm hanged if we can have that.
Under the circumstances, that's a very tactless remark.